Funding for this program is made possible by WQED's members, the Richard King Mellon Foundation, the Heinz Endowments, the Pittsburgh Foundation, and the Allegheny Regional Asset District. Thank you.
Instead of looking at it as a negative point, look at it as an opportunity. What are the things that can happen when you see a vacant home? Oh, that would be gorgeous restored.
There was just so much wonderful businesses that were doing very well, and Penn Avenue and Wood Street together were extremely busy with tons of traffic.
There's more activity in the area. Other businesses might say, hey, why don't we open up a busy little neighborhood? We'll probably do well here.
So we're taking away excuses. Our strategy, we're to empower families and take away the excuses.
Some people aren't going to change their mind, probably would never want to be in Wilkinsburg or live here. And the people who are here do know what a great community it is.
So here we go. This is the ham and smoked Gouda.
I'm standing at the corner of Biddle and Trenton, and this is Wilkinsburg. And if that surprises you, then you should stay with us. For the next 30 minutes, we're going to meet the men and women who are working hard to reinvigorate this borough and put Wilkinsburg back on top. I'm in that seat. Why not Wilkinsburg? This is Wilkinsburg, a small town east of the city of Pittsburgh, tucked between Point Breeze, Edgewood, Penn Hills, Churchill, and Swissvale. The borough began as a frontier settlement and by the 1800s had blossomed into a proper village. Annalise Morris is the president of the Wilkinsburg Historical Society.
Well, it officially became the borough in 1887, but that was 75 years after it was unofficially named Wilkinsburg. Oh, it's not very big. It's only 2.3 square miles. It's a very small area. But at one point we were very, very populated. At its peak in the 50s, 33,000 people lived in Wilkinsburg.
The 1950s through the 1970s were boom times for Wilkinsburg. Penn Avenue and Wood Streets were filled with businesses, restaurants, and shoppers. It was one of Pittsburgh's most popular suburbs. Historically speaking, Wilkinsburg has been the setting for a list of interesting and infamous contributions. Frank Conrad, whose radio expertise led to the formation of KDKA Radio, the world's first continuous broadcast station. Teresa James was a fearless female flyer. She performed aerial stunts at the Wilkinsburg Airport and flew in the Women's Auxiliary Flying Squadron during World War II. She also flew the first postal delivery from the Wilkinsburg Airport. In 1906, the Dream City Amusement Park provided hours of fun at what's now the corner of Laketon Road and Montier Streets. In 1923, Wilkinsburg was the site of one of the region's largest Ku Klux Klan rallies, with reportedly more than 5,000 in attendance. And in 1931, the Colored Community Club of Wilkinsburg was organized to help people in need. Beyond its historical accomplishments, Wilkinsburg has also been known as the City of Churches.
We're the only place in the world that if you type in City of Churches or the Holy City, that Wilkinsburg pops up on your Google search, because we do have more churches in our 2.3 square miles than any other area ever. At one point we had 33 churches in Wilkinsburg. We've just got so much history here.
I grew up in Wilkinsburg. My parents were looking for a bigger house, and in 1963 they found one on Laketon Road. Growing up in Wilkinsburg was actually fun for the most part. We hung out with our friends, we went to Wilkinsburg High School, where we were either in choir or the band or on the football team or in Future Secretaries of America. And while we were growing up, Wilkinsburg was changing. By the late 1970s, the borough had the same problems as most small western Pennsylvania towns. Jobs were lost and many white Wilkinsburg residents moved to the suburbs. Properties were abandoned, taxes went up, and crime stepped in. So were Wilkinsburg's challenges insurmountable? Not if other local neighborhoods are any indication. Downtown Pittsburgh, East Liberty, and Lawrenceville were more popular and pricey than anyone would have dreamed a decade ago. And citizens of nearby Braddock are dedicated to their town's survival. Town boosters have to tackle a short list of big challenges to reach a goal of long-term stability, including improving the state of borough schools, attracting new businesses and residents, and tax relief for businesses and residents. Like the sunrise in this promotional video, the Wilkinsburg Community Development Corporation is dedicated to bringing a new day to Wilkinsburg. Just open the Wilkinsburg Sun, or take a look at the new businesses around town, or catch up on the newly passed liquor sales referendum, and you'll see signs of the WCDC's handiwork.
How many people do we expect?
From their offices on Penn and Wood, they're part of everything from the new storefronts to the recent local food tour.
Who's going to be there?
Tracy Edmonds is the executive director.
The WCDC was started in 2008, but we actually got here in the office in 2010. So it's 5 years that we've had staff and been in the business district. Our big accomplishments right now are getting properties sold to new owners. We have a lot of vacant property in Wilkinsburg, and we've had about 36 properties in the business district transfer right now to new owners. We've had 14 storefronts that were vacant get new businesses. So that's a lot of the work we're doing to bring more business back to the business district.
About that liquor license, Wilkinsburg's been dry for more than half a century, despite the repeal of prohibition. Was there ever a time when you could legally buy liquor within the borough?
Just for 2 years in the mid-30s, when Pennsylvania state law allowed local municipalities to allow liquor licenses. But overnight we had 50 bars.
In May of 2015, Wilkinsburg voters approved a referendum that would allow businesses to acquire liquor licenses.
We're interested in more food. We want to do a food innovation district, kind of look at markets, utilize the liquor licenses that are now available so that we can get some restaurants in, have a little more nightlife.
Just a bit further down Penn Avenue is Salvatore's Pizza. Along with being a big part of this neighborhood, Sal's hopes to benefit from what could be a game changer for the town.
My name's Salvatore Di Pasquale, and I'm one of the owners/managers here. My parents opened this place up back in 1984.
So why have you guys stayed in Wilkinsburg?
It's where we've been all our time.
I like it.
We've grown a relationship with customers and people in the community, so this is where it's at. We don't like the bad perceptive Wilkinsburg. People are like, oh, where's your family restaurant at? It's like, oh, it's in Wilkinsburg. Like, oh, I don't know about that. You know, we want to change that. It's something that we want to fix.
Sal's is a neighborhood place known for its good food and for providing employment and revenue for the borough.
32?
So you guys are part of the effort for the referendum on the liquor licenses. Tell me how you hope that's going to change what happens here at Sal's.
There isn't much happening in Wilkinsburg in the evening hours, so by lifting the liquor ban, you know, it might generate some revenue to help us get through those slow times.
Armando Di Pasquale is co-owner of the shop and Sal's dad.
I'm proud of my place, and I'm happy that the community supported us and allowed us to grow, and we want to keep going. I know there's a lot of people being afraid that it's going to be a bar scene. I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think the community is working with us and with whoever is going to come in the future. I think it's going to be good.
I wanted to know more about the nuts and bolts of the licenses and how they would be administered. I spoke to Borough Council President Vanessa McCarthy Johnson.
The liquor license referendum was put on the ballot, the May ballot, by petition. So the WCDC, which is the Wilkinsburg Community Development Corporation, found that a lot of businesses were interested in liquor licenses. So they went through the process and to find out how many people that had to sign the petition, and they actually educated the neighborhood, the residents, and volunteer residents went out and got all the signatures.
One of the fears that I've heard from people was they were afraid that there were just going to be all of a sudden a bunch of bars would just open up out of nowhere all in the neighborhoods and bring crime into the district. How do you address that concern?
Right now, I know of 3 businesses that are very much looking into having this liquor license, and they're all well established, been here for a good amount of years. Now, our job is to make sure that we have a really tight, really good ordinance on our books so we won't be plagued with nuisance bars and to help allay the fears of our residents.
So when you got a borough-wide renewal project of this size, I mean, it's 2.3 miles, how do you ensure buy-in from everybody in the community?
Everything we do has public meetings. Our projects, our initial goals are all set with the community. And an identity. What is Wilkinsburg's future going to look like as a business district? And anything like that, we're going to have people at the table, we're going to have meetings. Even our vacant house tour that we did last year, the whole basis of that was all around grassroots and volunteers and what the neighbors wanted to see.
If you drive through Wilkinsburg, you can't help but notice the vacant houses. There's a lot of them. Abandoned by their owners for one reason or another, the delinquent and unrealized revenues on these homes is part of the high tax burden that vexes many residents. According to Allegheny County, a City of Pittsburgh property with a median value of $65,000 pays a total of $1,470 in local taxes. In Wilkinsburg, a property with a median value of nearly half that amount pays $1,710 in local taxes.
It's definitely noticeable in Wilkinsburg. We have, I think, around 750 vacant properties total. It's around 19% of the total building stock in Wilkinsburg is vacant or blighted. So it is one of our main features. And it's a problem, but as we tried to demonstrate with the vacant home tour this past May, is that vacant property is also an opportunity.
That opportunity presented itself in the form of a first-of-its-kind walk through Wilkinsburg neighborhoods. Working with residents, civic groups, and the Wilkinsburg Community Development Corporation, the tour was designed by a group from Carnegie Mellon University.
My name is Kenneth Chu, and I am a student at the Hines College for Public Policy and Management. The team currently that is putting this project together is composed of students from the Hines College, as well as students from the architecture program and sustainable design. We've engaged people in the community, residents who live here in Wilkinsburg, to serve as tour guides on the event. And what they've done is they've researched the histories of these houses and the families who used to live inside of them to share the histories with tour participants.
The unique thing about the owner of this house was that Mr. Vernon Koval owned this home, and he was the designer of many of the bridges in all of Allegheny County.
There are several goals that we're hoping to accomplish with the tour today. First of all, we'd like to bring and refocus attention to Wilkinsburg to see how amazing this community is. I think that's our #1 goal.
I'm a tour guide because I live right up the street, and there are so many vacant properties in this neighborhood, and they're all beautiful houses that just really deserve to be saved.
The second one is hopefully to get these homes moved from vacant and abandoned to vibrant homes that are being lived in. And then certainly the third goal would be to engage the community in that transition, in that move forward, to make sure that they're a part of that solution.
After the tour, the Pittsburgh History and Landmarks Foundation's Preservation Resource Center sponsored an information session on acquiring a vacant property.
Allegheny County's, some of their rehab loads, they do have lead paint requirements on that, in which case...
But beyond what could someday be a beautiful home, what other enticements are there for potential buyers? Tax incentives, says Vanessa McCarthy-Johnson.
We have a vacant property recovery program where they can come in and, side lot beside their home, or they find an abandoned home, they can go through that process. And it's a long process because it has to go through Allegheny County. It's getting all 3 taxing bodies to eliminate the taxes. So that's Allegheny County, Wilkinsburg Borough, and Wilkinsburg School District. So you'll start out with a 0 balance. You still have to pay for the cost of the house, whatever the fair market value is.
With a little luck and a lot of hard work, some of those on the tour could become homeowners. That would be a win-win for the borough, boosting the population and increasing the tax base. This is Marley Gallagher.
I'm the Communications and Outreach Coordinator at the Wilkinsburg Community Development Corporation.
Marley spends a lot of time telling people about the good things in Wilkinsburg, like this place.
This is the Hamnet Place Community Garden. It's also called Piano Place. It's a community garden. Anyone can come and buy a plot for $40 for the whole season. Preference is given to Wilkinsburg residents. This was a vacant apartment building before it was a garden, so I think it's just nice for them to see that something's actually taking place. Like, this vacant structure isn't going to stay here, it's demolished, and now it's a nice place for the community.
It's not just the garden that's nice. Wilkinsburg has been the recipient of a number of awards and grants recently, including a Main Street designation, new street signage, and community revitalization grants.
Tell me a Wilkinsburg success story.
New businesses, so I think we had about 7 in the past year. That was including Leona's ice cream sandwiches, so they're one of the bigger ones in the Pittsburgh area just because they're so popular right now. People are surprised to learn that they're made here.
And you need one.
Studebaker Metals is another new company in the past year. So they're a metal fabricator. They make jewelry and they sell it all around the world. They're another one that people don't realize is here.
Actually, there have been quite a few business bright spots for Wilkinsburg, with old favorites and newcomers sharing the stage. There's the expanded farmers market, with chic food, homemade crafts, and locally grown produce. And if you travel down Wood Street, you'll find Jose Gafor's Soul Food Connection, in business for more than 22 years.
What we have here today is collard greens, baked macaroni and cheese, and southern fried chicken. We decided to go with soul food, and it's a very unlikely route for me to go, seeing that I grew up as a Jew that did not eat pork or ham hocks or any of those kind of things. Worked at the Southern Platter for years, and I learned a lot of what they were doing. My wife came up with the idea that if you're doing so much for this business, why don't we start our own? And the rest is history.
I asked Jose what he thought the borough's chances were for a big comeback.
I don't think anything's impossible as long as God is alive and well. And if everybody works together and everybody wants this to happen, I don't believe anything can get in the way.
Down on South Avenue, Jose has a neighbor who's turned an old business into a place for art.
My name is Brendan Bone, and I'm an artist, and I run this artist project and print space called Tip Type. Tip Type is a linotype and letterpress shop. So we run a linotype machine that casts metal type for letterpress printing, and I work with artists to create editions of prints and books or any other thing that our equipment can be useful for. I would always pass by the shop and see this linotype machine working, and would stop in every now and again and talk to the original owner, whose name was Rudy Lehman. On a Thursday evening, before the Monday morning that the scrap metal company was going to come, I got a call from Rita, who was Rudy's wife, and she said, I just wanted to let you know that basically we've organized a deal for the scrap metal company to come in and scrap all the equipment in the space. My partner and I, whose name is Manya Monkevich, decided to take it on and reopen it.
And every once in a blue moon, we get something really exciting like this too, where somebody finds an old plate from the 1930s sitting in a box going to the trash, and they're like, who could print this thing? And they bring it to me, and it turns out it's like a 1930s cartoon from a newspaper.
Less of a commercial print shop or commercial linotype shop, although sometimes when we're asked by people, we'll create lines of type for people that need it, but mostly as a project space for artists.
By embracing the old and welcoming the new, Wilkinsburg just might find itself labeled as a great place to do business. Built in 1911, Wilkinsburg High School was the answer to a growing town with children that needed to be educated. Back then, the district's student population numbered over 3,100 students. When I graduated from Wilkinsburg High School in the late 70s, there were around 900 kids in the high school alone, including the marching band, the color guard, and the majorettes, of course. Today, that same building serves as both the middle and high school for the borough. Excluding charter schools, there are 3 schools in the district: the middle high school and 2 elementary schools, Kelly and Turner. Inside, it's a normal day just like many other urban high schools. Students are wanded, backpacks are screened, and cell phones are handed in till the end of the school day. But with its decreasing enrollment, limited financial resources, and a building in need of renovation, Wilkinsburg's high school is in big trouble. The school placed lowest in Allegheny County in the state's school performance profile test. And with such a high percentage of tax dollars dedicated to the district, school officials are pulling out all the stops to find a solution. In the summer prior to the 2015-2016 school year, I spoke to Dr. Daniel Matsuk about the district, its problems, and his hopes for the future.
I'm Dr. Daniel J. Matsuk. Right now I'm functioning in the position of the consultant for the Wilkinsburg School District. However, I just finished my first year with Wilkinsburg as the acting superintendent.
When school started, the district's total enrollment was around 830 students, with 200 of those in the middle and high school, a huge drop from previous decades. I asked Dr. Matzuk what made a district change so much over the years.
There's a lot of reasons for change that happens in public schools across the state of Pennsylvania. In our particular case, there was a drastic decrease in enrollments that happened prior to me getting here. The problem that it leaves with us is that we lose students, but our costs for educating students in-house don't go away. We can offer students hundreds of programs and hundreds of courses, but there's only so many students that can sit in those seats.
Those empty classrooms are a huge part of Wilkinsburg's tax problem. The rate for Wilkinsburg schools is over 32.6 mils, one of the highest in Allegheny County. Everybody, as you well know, comes up to you on the street and says, what are you going to do about these taxes? What are you guys going to do about the taxes?
Whenever things seemed to be going in a downward slide here, there wasn't much they were getting for their taxes, but we're looking to turn that around. And the school board here is committed to turning it around without raising taxes any further. Because we want to attract families to come in and buy homes. We want to attract businesses to come in and start up here. And we want to do it without having to raise taxes for the problems that we have financially and educationally here within the school walls.
Things are definitely looking up at the elementary level. Both Turner and Kelly saw increased academic scores in those performance profile tests, and both are scheduled for capital improvements. But the middle high school presents a different set of challenges.
Now, we don't have a musical. We don't have a play. We have less than 15 or 10 students in our marching band. I believe our chorus has less than 10 students. We have one language that we offer. The technological STEAM programs that you see offered in a lot of school districts, we offer maybe one little small component relative to that because it's related to enrollment. So we had to start looking for options outside the four walls of that building. What can you do? Can you merge? Can you consolidate? Can you share services? Can you find a partner? We talked about all those things as our leadership, and we had a public meeting back in May and talked about the fact that we were able to compare curriculums from districts that border our borders.
Not long after our conversation, Wilkinsburg announced a plan that would send their middle and high school students to a Pittsburgh school as early as fall of 2016.
There's been talks. The talks are moving into very serious mode, and so there will be a series of meetings that our public and our parents and even our students and our staffs who are impacted by this will have an opportunity to hear and ask questions and give their opinions about things.
By late October 2015, both Wilkinsburg and Pittsburgh had approved the partnership plan.
We're pursuing partnerships that are going to enhance our educational experiences as well. We want to do what's right, first of all, for kids.
Spend a little time in Wilkinsburg, and you'll soon find the people and places that make it special. Like Hosanna House, a community resource, and so much more.
My name is Leon Haynes III, and I'm the founding CEO for Hosanna House. So this is an NACE accredited 4-star PA, and again, our goal is to have quality services. You won't see a lot of televisions laying around and a lot of coloring. There'll be intentional learning opportunities for our children. Hosanna House is a multi-purpose health and human service organization serving people from all walks of life.
Among other services, Hosanna House provides top-of-the-line child, health, and dental care, family advocacy, job training, and after-school programs.
Ready, go. Tomato, orange, apple.
We serve about 400 people a day for average about 9 to 10 months. So that's 400 who are coming here every day. And then in our Sherwood location, we serve probably another 10,000 people, visitors, visit that site.
Sherwood is a former resort turned day camp with summer activities and great facilities.
And so we believe in empowering people and giving them the opportunity to dream, giving young people the opportunity to dream, because we know what's in them is bigger than anything we can imagine. So our whole strategy really was getting enough resources to take away the excuses to empower families to go ahead and take care of themselves. That was a strategy.
It looks like it worked.
So far, I think we're doing okay.
Of all the lovely offices and shops in Trenton Square, the one that gets the most traffic is Biddle's Escape. I spoke with owner Joe Davis about how Biddle's had become much more than just a coffee shop.
I've owned this building for many years and really got tired of Oakland. I had a store there and decided that Wilkinsburg and this area seemed to be changing a little bit, but it also needed a place for community to come in and hang out. But I think the biggest issue for people moving to Wilkinsburg or starting businesses here is the tax structure. If that can be figured out, then I think Wilkinsburg will just blossom overnight, literally overnight.
I asked Joe what he thought about our title, Why Not Wilkinsburg?
I think it's more of it's happening, and it will be happening. And I hope to see that more small businesses from Pittsburgh come into Wilkinsburg as opposed to large developers. I find that is large developers just generally destroy the vibe of a community, and it's more about money as opposed to community. And I see this as a very heavily community-oriented area of Pittsburgh, and it's by far the best area of Pittsburgh. There's no doubt about it.
If there's one place that symbolizes the joining of old and new Wilkinsburg, it's Nancy's East End Diner. The original owner of Nancy's had to close the restaurant due to illness after 40 years of business. Marky Moraga and her partner, Greg Stockey, reopened as Nancy's East End Diner in February 2015.
There's a lot of history here. So Nancy is a neighborhood institution. Nancy ran this restaurant for several years.
What's the response been like from the community?
Incredibly positive. I'm really touched at how many people come in here every day, and they used to come here and they have wonderful memories that they're on our wall of pictures, and they remember coming here and being served warmly and feeling like this place was just an extension of their own kitchen.
For Jamie, the server, there's nowhere else she'd rather be.
2 tunnels. And anybody that's in Pittsburgh knows about 2 tunnels, and everyone here asks me, why do you do it? And again, it's because I have the coolest bosses and I love the customers that I wait on here.
We'll see you, I'm sure, tomorrow.
I come here every day, have conversations and fun and learn things about the people in the community. They learn about me, then you start to care about one another. It's relationships is what it is.
Those relationships are what could make Wilkinsburg thrive again. A united force that combines the tenacity of long-term residents with the excitement of new faces, new ideas, and a new vision. It won't be easy, and there are plenty of challenges, but from the looks of things, they're not giving up anytime soon.
Funding for this program is made possible by WQED's members, the Richard King Mellon Foundation, the Heinz Endowments, the Pittsburgh Foundation, and the Allegheny Regional Asset District. Thank you.